What's up, Ride Warriors? Danny Miller back again playing Planet Coaster, and hopefully it's been a few days since I've actually opened up the park here. It's been a busy week of recording here. It's the first week of December that I'm recording, but it's probably right around the new year by the time you're seeing this, if not already the new year. So Happy New Year if it is indeed 2021, and hopefully we'll make a better year out of it. Last time, I spent lots of time putting down these lovely lampposts that have the park name on them. I was afraid that they would be a little bit too much and a little bit in your face, but it turns out that they're not, and the park looks quite good with them. Let's just change it to 7 p.m. Yeah, so it turns out the park looks actually quite nice here with all these lights that we put around last time. And it seems to be lighting up the trees quite nicely. So I think what I decided to do, actually when I jumped into the game here, there was a couple of things that I did, and I did them without recording because they were more of like housekeeping things, trying to refine the paths a little bit, because I didn't like the way some of the paths were sort of coming together. So in general, I like the way this looks. But what you'll notice is that I actually took away the queue here, and I learned some things about the queues, and also sort of redid the bit that goes around the merry-go-round a little bit. It was pretty much just a big circle. But the problem that sort of presented itself is that there wasn't a good place to build off these side paths where I could get them really nice and centered. So I made them sort of flat on the end so that I could have like an archway or something. And my plan, as you can see here, and I would have sort of deleted them and redone it for the sake of the recording, but I was kind of afraid that I wouldn't be able to get it the way that I liked, the way that I had it. So really what the intent here now, it kind of looks like some giant alien thing from Among Us or something. So the intent here is to have sort of this short main midway out here, then you got the carousel in the middle, and then we'll sort of split off into these three different areas of the park. We'll sort of have one area, one midway that's sort of shorter off to the side here, another one that's shorter off to the side. Maybe we'll have one wood coaster on either side, and then we'll go back, deeper into the map to build the rest of the park. And the ability that I have by doing this is it sort of gives me the option to expand the park in any way I want. And because I've sort of left these, if I just go to the paths real quick, I'm just sort of cluing you in on what it took me probably about an hour and a half to really get these paths looking the way I want. But what it'll give me the ability to do in the future is if I want to build something off of here, or if I want to sort of sprout off, I can sort of I can make a sort of path that comes off to here and sort of joins in here if I want, and then sort of do this sort of thing and build another midway that kind of goes off in some particular direction. But it took me a while to make sure that everything was symmetrical and it looks pretty nice. So I think just what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to extend. I'm going to make these midways. Are they even? Yeah, they're even. So I'm just going to extend these midways enough here. I'm just going to do a length of 5. And I'm going to do it in all directions, so we can sort of get the idea of what our park is going to look like. And I am going to do some cross paths. I'm going to do some cross paths and whatnot, because I want things to be close together. I'm thinking very like Kings Island, Coney Mall area, or King's Dominion, Candy Apple Grove, where you've got sort of the split midway. And we'll join the things together, but then we'll have benches and just, flowers and trees that are inside, sort of the squares where there's not paths. And sort of the whole overarching theme is here, if I'm looking down this midway, I've got a view of the carousel, at some point. I kind of want my guests to always have a view of the carousel. Unfortunately, this isn't, like, perfectly centered right here. It doesn't look like it's pretty damn close. It's centered off of that, but because of this little squiggly bit here, the merry-go-round is like not perfectly centered here, but it's close enough. I mean, even here you're not going to see this here, so you're going to be slightly off-centered, but it's good enough for what I want, and it allows me to get that symmetry. So our park is sort of starting to come together here. So I need to, oh, I also deleted the queue here because I want to do something a little bit more with the queue, and I might do that offline, because I don't really know how I want this queue to look just yet. For the merry-go-round, for the carousel, I put something down there, but I didn't really fancy it. It was just to have something there, and I saw that I didn't like it pretty much at all. And we still got to put some things around here, and I still do have plans to do like lighting and everything in this area, and to do some more things here. You know, flowers and everything here, just sort of like how we did at the entrance here. I'd like to put bushes and things in here to sort of fill this in, but I think with the flowers and lighting and benches and bins, I think I've bored you enough with that type of content for a while, so I figured I would move into the park a little bit more. So, by now, you've probably seen that I've created a logo for one of my wood coasters, and that is going to be called White Thunder. So we talked about we want to have at least 2 wood coasters in this park. And again, the whole theme here is that we're trying to go, it's not really a theme that I'm going for, but 1980s. So we're trying to build this park as if it was in the 1980s, set in the 1980s. So things could be older, and just been around a while, like the carousel. I mean, certainly this is supposed to look older than the 80s. So I think I want 2 style wood coasters. I want sort of an out and back, and then I want a twister style. I think my twister style I'm going to do as if, I think I'm going to do the twister style as if that was like an older, like a Coney Island Cyclone, like 1920s, Roaring 20 eras coaster. Because like the Coney Island Cyclone and the other rides that had that, you know, that twister sort of layout, if you will, those were very popular in the 1920s. And then the out and back coasters, they sort of were more popular in the 70s, in the second golden age of coasters, you know, when King's Dominion, King's Island, and all these other parks, Carowinds, all those other parks are being constructed, because you had rides like Racer, Rebel Yell, Thunder Road, you know, American Eagle. You know, those were, I know American Eagle was 80s, I think it was early 80s, but all those rides were like 70s, 80s, those out and back. And I'm kind of thinking the Cyclone at Denver's Lakeside Park. I'm kind of thinking of that as sort of an inspiration for my station for one of the coasters, and it's probably this out and back coaster, which I'm going to be calling White Thunder. Reason being, I can paint the ride white, and it looks very classic, and it can be more of an out and back, and I'd like to do more of that, you know, that 50s style Art Deco type of station, because it'll be something different to get us away from all the wood paneling and everything. It'll give a nice look to it. So I think maybe what I'll do is I'll try and do that. But to be perfectly honest, I've got to figure out where exactly the coaster is going to start. And I definitely want my coaster. I'm trying to think where I want it to sort of go. And I think I want this coaster off on this side of the park. And what I'd like to do is build like an out and back, and then out here have some sort of fancy turnaround. I'd like to maybe have, I'm thinking sort of in the same vein of the Rose Bowl of Son of Beast, or maybe even like the double helix of Legend or something like that. I'd like to have like a fancy turnaround where there's some fancy lateral forces, with not a ton of extreme banking. Again, I'm sort of thinking Cyclone at Lakeside in Denver, where it's a little bit of an out and back, and the second half is an out and back, and the first half is more of a twister style, where it sort of goes around like a double circular type thing before it does the out and back portion. And this, I'm kind of thinking the opposite of that. You know, we'll do an out and back, and then we'll have some sort of helix, you know, some sort of fun helix at the far end, and then we'll bring it back up. Maybe we'll have a double down in it somewhere. Maybe even have a trick track in there, and sort of bring it back and maybe do a helix again at the end. So I'm kind of thinking that I don't want to go super high with it, maybe 80, 85, 90 feet or so. But I want to keep it close to the path so that it sort of runs along the path so that you sort of see the entire ride. So I guess the question is, let's look at some of these other rides. I'm talking and not doing a whole lot on the screen. So let's look at what some of our rides look like first of all. I have no idea what some of these rides are, and we'll sort of look at, I'm turning my volume down. I think it still records the volume at the same volume, so you'll probably hear, like, the construction thing beeping. Okay, so we've got sort of the roundup type deal, and that's not too large. I mean, it'd be maybe nice to have one ride here, and then so we've got our scrambler, which they call a hurricane. Definitely gonna want to have one of those somewhere. Power moves, is that the one I did before? Oh, that's interesting. It's like a breakdance. Pathos 3. This is the yeah, that's sort of the. It's not quite the top scan. It looks very much like a top scan. Overpower, which looks like our top spin. The looper, which is wow. Okay. A loop the loop. Oh, look at that. We've got a very classic. Oh, okay. That's good. We're gonna have to have one of those somewhere. For sure, that very classic type ride. Oh, we've got the kickflip, which is essentially our zipper. We're probably going to have to have one of those. A tri-storm. This is your troika. Oh, and this is the other version of that. Excellent. So we could have, we'll probably just do one of those. We won't need to have both of them. Round the World, which is sort of your, I think this is a Rocco plane, I think those are called. Okay, so, and these are from the, I think some of these are from the Vintage Rides package as well. So we've got a Skizzer, which is basically an older looking version of the Scrambler, I think. So, maybe we'll do one of those Sky Ace, Swift Drifters. This is, what do we got here? Oh, this is a whip. Is this a whip? This is a whip. Ah, fantastic. Gotta have a whip. Okay. I'm getting super excited about all these rides. We've got a Hellion Ring, which is your Larson Loop, which may or may not be a roller coaster. And these are just these are just the thrill rides here. Oh, we've got a space shuttle ride, and then gentle rides. We've got Bumpin' Derby, which is your bumper cars. Certainly got to have some of those. We've got a Big Wheel, which is your classic type of Ferris wheel. Oh, and we should definitely have one of those somewhere in the middle. I think maybe what we'll do is we'll eventually put the Ferris wheel somewhere in the middle of this back midway, and we'll sort of do that. And have the paths go around it, I think, and maybe we can elevate it. That's always what I did in Roller Coaster Tycoon. Is I would take my Ferris wheel and I would sort of elevate it a bit and then build things around it so people had to walk up to it. Hershey Park's Ferris wheel sort of like that, where the platform is sort of elevated and you've got to walk up to it. There is your. That's not quite a Music Express. This is your Music Express here. Oh, we've got all these excellent classic rides that we're going to be able to build. Let's see. Let me turn around here and see. Is there going to be? Yes, the guy in the game yells at you when you try and build it somewhere you can't. No. Kind of funny. We're not going to be able to fit that in there, but we could certainly fit it in there. Free Flyer, which I think is this our Paratrooper. Oh, we've got so many good classic rides that we can build here. An Enterprise, that's going to be very useful. Sky Temple, that's the Island in the Sky ride. Oh, man, that looks really cool, too. Skywatcher, which I think is just sort of our observation tower. We won't build one of those. We got Teacups, very classic. That's good. We've got the Aeronauts, which I think is just sort of our balloon type ride. We've got Victory, which is our pirate ship. The Whirly Rig, which is a very basic sort of kiddie style ride. I think we'll probably have some sort of kiddie area where maybe we'll put the Aeronauts and the Whirly Rig and maybe one other thing. We've got the Rocktopus, which is very popular in this game. Magic Twirl. What else do we have? Oh, looks very interesting. The Genie, which I think is sort of your surf dog type thing. There you go, with sort of a magic carpet type of look. We've got the Plane, which is your wave swinger. So we've got plenty of options, and maybe on each midway we'll have sort of a ride halfway down of some sort. Maybe we'll do the Ferris wheel, sort of going into the backwoods area. We'll have the wave swinger. You know, here, the Charo swing, or Charo plane. And then, I haven't quite decided what we'll put sort of in the middle, elsewhere. Maybe we'll put the Larson Loop in the middle of the midway, somewhere. So I think we've got lots of options. I'm very, very excited about, starting to put down some rides. So that's good. I think I want to have at least one ride or building before I get to the roller coaster. So let me sort of get an idea of where this needs to be. Let me find a decent sized Horror Heights. What the hell is the Horror Heights? Oh my god. That looks like something very, very devious. Let's see. Oh, we've got our classic Tilt-A-Whirl there. Centrum, which is our roundup. The bumper cars are sort of there. I think I'm gonna place... I'm not actually going to build the bumper cars here just yet, I don't think. Or maybe I will, I don't know. But I think I'm gonna place that there. Because the bumper cars are a little bit larger in size. So even if I don't build them there, you know, maybe not an Enterprise, but even if I build like a Roundup here, I'm gonna have the ability to do some theming and stuff and sort of hide it off with some trees in this area, and you know, sort of put the entrance to the area sign. So I'm just gonna leave the bumper cars there because it's sort of just a good placeholder to sort of get my spacing down. So let's go to rides. And no, the coasters are in. Oh my god, we got track rides too. I completely forgot about that. We've got all these blueprints, which are very nice. So we've got log flumes, we've got the gondolas, we've got the ghost train, which I think I'm gonna do a custom type dark ride of some sort. Maybe we'll do a log flume, which is here. We've got and I definitely want a train. Which is going to be interesting because I really have no way right now for the train to sort of get across all of this. I didn't really think of that as I was going through here, but I knew that I want a train. So maybe the train doesn't come out here. Maybe the train sort of goes just sort of around this back area. I think that's kind of what we'll do. That'll be fine, and we can sort of build it over. We got powered rides, interactive rides. We've got the shooting. We've got the water rides. There's your transport rides. Oh, we got monorails too. Okay, we've got all sorts of fun stuff. Alright, so let's get to the coaster finally. So I know that this is gonna be a wood coaster. We can't do hybrid coasters in this. So you've got the Steel Vengeance train, you've got the Malice Unchained, which is your just your sort of generic RMC Iron Horse, and then you've got your hybrid, which is your topper track, which is called Iron Fury. We're going for wood in this one. And I think my Twister coaster, I'm going to put the Millennium Flyer style trains on the single bench because I'm thinking coaster at Peony Playland. And that's a coaster, I think it's out of like the 40s or 50s. But that is sort of a Twister style you might call it a double out and back, but it's more of a twister style, and it's got single bench trains that look very much like the Millennium Flyers. They're not exactly the Millennium Flyers, but they look close. Now, an interesting question is, I wonder if I can build... Can I build a coaster like with the monster type and then go to the Coney Island Cyclone type of train later? The Zephyrus, it looks like it's called. See, but I don't know if I need that look for this. I mean, certainly not for my out and back. That's going to be like a 50s style ride. You know, sort of an out and back. We can do the Monster, which is the PTC 3-bench style cars. So I think what I want to do, I don't want to, in fact, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to work on I'm going to do a little bit of just planning from a path standpoint first. Because what I sort of want, and I'm just sort of eyeballing this at the moment, I'm not actually doing this just yet, but I want to sort of do this thing where, oops. I want to do this thing where they sort of walk up to the station sort of on a slight angle. I want it to look, I want it to, and again, this isn't what the path is actually going to look like, but I'm trying to get a judgment for my distance and everything, for how it sort of has to come off of here. And I'm not sure if I'm going to have my queue to be sort of short, where it also goes up that way, and then the exit comes down this way. I might do that type of thing where you load and unload on the same side. Let's see. I want to go back to the coasters. So I think what it seems like, based on the timing so far, is that this episode is going to be me just sort of figuring out where the coaster is going to go, and then maybe on the next episode we'll actually build the damn thing. So I think I'm gonna go more for the sort of classic load and unload from the same side. And I don't know how, and I can always change it later. Yes, the guy's yelling at me. I can always sort of change it later. I'm gonna try and center it approximately, and again, I can change it later, perhaps. But I sort of want to make it the same height as this path, so that when I build my exit, it just sort of automatically connects. And let's just see how that goes for a... So I need to place an entrance, which is going to be somewhere over here, and then I need to place an exit, because I'm just experimenting. Yes, that's exactly what I want. So I want it to be at that height so that I can build sort of the path coming up at an angle that's not steps, it's just sort of a ramp. And it's going to be pretty narrow. It's going to be pretty narrow, so I actually like where this is at right now. Because it gives me the ability, because this is a 20-foot wide path, and the queues are typically, well, you can make them less than half of that. So that gives me the ability to have the station fairly close to the path here, if you will. It gives me the ability to have it fairly close to the path, and still, so you can see the beautiful station that I'm eventually going to build. and still have the ability to do a queue. So now I'm doing the advanced move right now. And I think what's going to be nice about building this is I'm going to give now that I got the height sort of figured out, I've given myself the ability to have some flexibility with where this needs to go. But we know that that's going to be approximately where we want to build it. So before I actually start building, let's edit track. I think I'm going to take away one station section. Oh, maybe I don't want to do that. We did enter right, exit right, which is what that is. Because a lot of your classic out and back wood coasters have 4 PTC trains. So I think I kind of want to go with that. So we'll do 4, and there's 4 there. And the 4 looks good because now I've got room to do the entrance. I can do the entrance and exit sort of over on the same side here. I can bring the exit off here and do the entrance sort of over here and have them be somewhat symmetrical. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And we've got some room back here to extend it if need be. To make it a longer station, but I think this looks good. This will give us plenty of room to do some fun stuff with the station. No Limits 2 has a little bit of a tool where you can just sort of ignore everything on the station. It just places the concrete, and you can put like CAD models and things over it. Need a sip of water. So let's go to the painting of things. And if you haven't seen the logo yet, the text is sort of white. I've got black, and I've got like teal and yellow. So I think, let's look at. I like that golden yellow color. I think we'll definitely use that. It's just a matter of where. What do you change? Oh, you change the seats. Yeah, I don't want the seats to be black. I like when the seats are sort of like a classic, like a tan sort of like an old like an old car interior or something. I sort of like that look. Can we get the lighting to be slightly better? No, that's worse. I just want the lighting to be over here so that's a little bit nicer. Oh yeah, that's very good. Yeah, see, I like the look of that. I mean having the black seats isn't bad. But I like sort of the tan look that you get. Like the brownish look, and it's sort of a muted brown. I don't know. So that's black. That's a dark gray. Yeah, maybe we will go with black. I think that looks most realistic. Does it change the outside too? No, it doesn't. Yeah, we'll stick with black there for now. So now what are you changing? You change that. Yeah, that definitely needs to be black as well. So then what are you changing? You're changing the stripes, right? And not the lap bars. So the lap bars are always red. That's quite odd. I don't like that. That's interesting that the lap bars don't change colors. Oh, and you can select the type of car to spawn. Okay, so yes, you can change between the Gnarler, which is our Millennium Flyer is the Monster, which is your PTCs, and the Zephyrus, which is the Coney Island Cyclone 4-bench. So you can change the types of cars as long as the track type is the same. So that's good to know. Okay, so I think instead, I think I'm going to do the yellow for the stripes. And then for the car color, I think I'm going to go back to sort of the teal color that I came up with. It's sort of in this. It's sort of in the aqua type family. It's more blue than it is green. It's sort of somewhere in the middle. I don't think the color of the car is actually changing on the fly. It's something like that. Oh, we gotta go darker with that for the car for sure. Yeah, we're starting to get into the right family of colors now. Let's slide this slider up a little bit. Actually, what I will probably do, and I will do this offline, is I will probably go to my logo file and I will do a color drop on what color I'm actually using in the logo, and I'll make sure that they match exactly. But for now, we'll go with that. So that's sort of the look that our train has. So we've got the teal with the yellow stripe on the side, which looks pretty good, and then the ride itself is going to be white. So let's at least start building the lift hill. Let's at least start building the lift hill. And we're gonna have to see how far out we can get here because the map, I mean, the map is pretty big. Oh, so the map actually goes out to here for the park, but this is part of the map here. Oh, that's interesting. We're gonna have to look at that because that's sort of that natural terrain there. And I haven't done any terrain editing, and I would still like to at some point, especially more in the backwoods area of the park. So I think we will eventually do a little bit of terrain editing and everything. So I think what would be good is do my angle snapping to 15 degrees to start. That tends to be pretty good because you can get your 30s and your 45s. We could come all the way to the end here and then use sort of this natural hill as an opportunity to do some sort of double down. So I think maybe we'll do that. So let's shorten this up a little bit. I don't want the chain. I just want the basic there because it's not too high off the ground. We can come off straight away without a chain, and we'll sort of do that, and that'll give us the ability to extend the station a little bit if we need to. I think that's good. So I think we want the lift hill to be 30 degrees. I don't think we want it any more than that. We'll add the chain here at this point. The chain speed will be relatively modest. The 5 miles an hour seems to be pretty standard and pretty good. So there we go. Now we can extend our chain all the way up. And one thing I wish, and maybe there's a way to toggle this, is I wish the height markers sort of appeared before you built it, but I guess you can always just undo. So there's 78 feet. I think we want to be in the 80. I think we want to be in the 85 to 90 foot range. So let's shorten this up to here and see where that gets us. Yeah, that's 95. That's a little bit too tall. Maybe we'll come back to here. That's 90. What is that? That's 96 feet. And I think that looks pretty good. And we've still got room. We've got our station off to the side here. We've still got room to put like benches and maybe a building or two sort of along the lift hill if we want. And we've got plenty of room here. So I sort of like that. So we'll go with that for now. So let's change some of our station settings before we forget to do all of that. because that's an important part. So the entry speed and exit speed needs to be set. So we'll do the entry. We'll narrow it down to 6. And have I sort of lost it here? So if I click Start Test, then the ride will start to test. And what's funny about and this only happens when you have the game unpaused. Yeah, so there we go. So now it's going to test, and the ride operator is going to send along with the dummies. And the sounds are just great. It's so realistic. No idea. It's amazing what this game does as far as the realism. Yeah, so I mean that looks pretty good. And I think what we're gonna do. I don't think we're gonna build any more of it. So we want to make sure that it's going out at a good speed and catches the lift and everything. So that's good. So we're good there. So let's go back to our paint, and let's sort of paint the ride. The operators, I know that I was sort of doing that green. I mean, look at the freaking detail here. I mean, look at the operator pad. It's just amazing. The detail in here is just absolutely. You've even got the bottles of water on there, and the little things taped to the glass and everything. I mean, and even the fire extinguisher. I mean, I operated at Dorney Park for 2 years, as many of you already know. I operated Talon for a year, and then the Possessed group, which included Possessed, the Zephyr train, and also the Monster, which if you ask any ride operator who's run a Monster and any other group of rides, they will tell you that a Monster, an Octopus, is one of the absolute worst rides to run solo. It's terrible. It's fun. It's fun, but it's also terrible. So let's see, what do we want to do as far as color? Let's just go with like pure white to start, and then we'll sort of go from there. So we've got the white there, we've got the white there, and we've got the white there. So that's like obnoxiously white. And I don't like the obnoxiously white. Not at all. So I think we want to make our railing, which I think is that. I like doing the railing as sort of that teal color. I think that's kind of neat to have the white coaster with sort of the teal rails here. I guess the question is going to be, we can do like the track bed a different color. So like Great American Scream Machine, I think it's like blue or red. American Eagle, I think it's a different color. And which color are you? Oh, that's the chain return. So that's like the chain motor and the chain return, which is, I mean, there's absolutely no reason for that to be white, is there? Or yellow for that matter. But I feel like that should be sort of a dark gray. Oh, and if you look down at the support footers and everything, those change colors as well, to sort of match whatever. Yeah, the brackety things down on the footers change colors. So I think we definitely want those to be we'll do them as a dark gray. Yeah, and that looks good. That looks more realistic there. So we've got the structure is white, which is most of it, and then if we do the teal here, that makes the track and cross ties also teal. See, I wish it just made the track bed a color and not the cross ties. Because I think we don't really have any options but to make that white and to just live with the teal rails. Let's see, can I edit that? Yes, I can. and we are going to call this White Thunder. If I hover over it, does it tell me what it is? Yeah. So I think this is I think this looks pretty solid here. It'll be a nice sized wood coaster, you know. And if I get down to player height again in first person, I'm right here, and I see this really lovely coaster that's going to have this really lovely station sort of coming off of it. And I'm going to be able to see that coaster sort of spread out as far as the eye can see because it'll be sort of an out and back type deal. I think we are eventually going to move it a little bit closer to the path, but the good news is since we can start the buildings, the station building on the station grid, is we can move everything once we get the station built. If we need it a little bit closer, a little bit farther away to accommodate our paths, we'll certainly have the ability to do that without it being a huge headache. So, at 40 minutes, I think rather than building the rest of the ride, I think I will end this episode. And in the next episode, we'll continue building our first roller coaster here in Evergreen Groves, which is being called White Thunder. And we'll see what we can do with it. I'm really excited to finally get a coaster in this park, and to start actually having more than just the merry-go-round that I have at the beginning. And it's a nice change of pace from all the lighting and sort of the smaller details of the main Midway. I mean, there's obviously a lot more left to do, but obviously you guys want to see me build some rides here as well. So I think we'll keep changing it up, and this will be our first coaster here. So thanks for watching this episode. Me playing Planet Coaster here, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.